I just want to at least get 6 read. 60% sounds like it would be really nice. Hello my loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten, and today we are doing my winter TBR. I'm actually filming this winter TBR before I film my December TBR, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get any of these onto my December TBR, but I have definitely hope for one of them at the very least. But we're just going to get straight into it. We've got a mixture of cozy murder mysteries, one classic, a couple of chunky fantasy books. Like, there's a mixture, and also some books that are just perfect for the winter season. So let's just dive straight into it. And I think I'm going to start off with the chunky fantasy, because am I being a little bit ridiculous right now? Yes. However, I'm really in the mood for a chunky fantasy book, and these are the two that I've got my eye on, so maybe we'll get it done. I do feel like winter is a good time for some chunky fantasy. So first up is a book that you have of course heard me talking about so much lately, because I'm really wanting to read Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. This would be a reread for me, and I do have my gorgeous new edition that I just need to go and collect from the shop actually. But you know what, I couldn't be bothered to leave the house today. But I love this book so much, and it is a chunker. It's over 1,000 pages long, but it is beautiful. The new edition has illustrations in it, and it's this gorgeous blue and silver. Like, I'm in love with it. I really want to reread this. This is one of my favorite books of all time. I read it would be 2 years ago now, and I adored it so freaking much. So I really want to reread it. This one, if you don't know, we're following 2 different perspectives. There's also a further tale that's being told in footnotes in this story, which I absolutely love. But the main 2 perspectives are our 2 main characters, which is Jonathan Strange, who is this young lad who has not really been able to find a job he's good at until he realizes, wait a minute, I'm a magician and I'm good at this. And so he approaches Mr. Norrell, who is meant to be England's last magician, to be taught. And Mr. Norrell is very reluctant, very reticent about it, because he doesn't want magic. Like, he thinks it should be hoarded, you shouldn't be sharing it and things. There's also a war going on with Napoleon, which Jonathan gets mixed up in. Like, there's so much. There are some really slow, dry moments, especially when you're reading from Mr. Norrell, but it matches his personality so perfectly. I couldn't have it any other way. And I really want to reread it and annotate it. And I know this is not going to be a book that I can just do inside a week. Like, it's not going to happen like that. I know that this is going to take me probably about 3 weeks of reading, but I really want to do it. Like, I'm so excited to reread this book. Definitely hoping to attempt to get it onto my December TBR. If not, it's got to be in January. Hopefully my TBR game plays out okay and I managed to get it on there. As I said, you actually, if you've seen my TBR, you already know what I'm reading for the month. But yeah, this is definitely high priority. I've been itching to reread this one for probably the last 3 or 4 months now, desperate to get to it. And then, because one chunky fantasy was clearly not enough, I have another one, and that is The Master Artificer by Justin Cool. This is the 2nd book in the series. The first one is Master of Sorrows, which I recently reread, and while that's still fresh in my mind, I really want to read this 2nd book. Now, we are waiting on the 3rd book, but I really want to do it. I've been thinking about this one a lot, especially because I'm really intrigued to see where Master of Sorrows, where it left, to see where that's going to continue. I'm just fascinated. In this world, it's very classical fantasy actually. We have our main character, and he is kind of having to, well, he is really. In the 1st book, he is being raised by this priest who is actually also a sorcerer. Sorcerers are banned, and he is also in this tiny little village that has this one main, I'm going to call it university, but it's basically this one main corporation where young people are trained to become masters that go out and collect magical artifacts, and you know, sometimes you're having to kill people who have got magic and are using it badly. And Nev is our main character, and he's in this really interesting position because he's in training, he wants to become a master, but also he is living with a priest who is a sorcerer who's helped keep him alive the whole time, because the gods in this, the way they're lore is done, there was this one particular god who went evil basically, and there is this thing called the Hand of Chaos where basically you're missing an arm, and Nev has that. Nymph is missing an arm. The person who's been raising him has hidden that from them using magic. So Nymph knows that not all magic is bad. Yes, it can be misused, but that doesn't mean it's always going to be, and that it can be really helpful and save people's lives. So he's in this really unique position. It's a bit slow, it's kind of tropey and classical fantasy, but I really enjoyed it, and I also liked the different twists that Justin Cole put on it to make it his own. So I really appreciated that. Now I really want to see where this is going to go, because the events at the end of that first book are so good, so fast paced, so much is happening that I really like it. I really want to see where this is going. This has been sat on my TBR for like a couple years now, so I definitely need to get this one read. When did it come out actually? So this was published in 2021, and I got the paperback edition, which is normally like a year later. So yeah, about 2.5 years. Oh my god, it's been a while. But yeah, so I would really like to get this one read, and I have been feeling it. Another chunky book. How many pages is this? 871 pages. So yeah, am I going to get 2 chunky fantasy books read in one season? Old me would have said yes, 100%, as in like past me. Now I tend not to read as many chunky fantasy books. I haven't read much fantasy in ages actually. I had a bit of a burnout in this year, so I would really like to get back into my fantasy. I've got lots of series that I really want to finish out, and I am enjoying. It's been a while since I've read any fantasy, so this might be a bit ambitious to have 2 chunky fantasy books on my TBR. We'll see how it all works. I mean, probably what's going to happen is I'll read Jonathan Strange and Miss Norrell first, and then I'll get to reading Master Artificer, which hopefully will do, but I do think that that's probably the book that I'm least likely to get to. But okay, I've got a couple of lighter things now. One is a young adult fantasy book, which I should have read ages ago. I got this when it first came out, and I've just been putting it off. This is The Prisoner's Throne by Holly Black. This is the last book in the duology that started off with The Prisoner's Throne. I really like The Prisoner's Throne. This is a spin-off series to Folk of the Air trilogy, and we're following a character in the first book, so in The Prisoner's Throne, that you meet a little bit of during the Folk of the Air trilogy, and then we get a whole book on her perspective, and I really loved her as a character. I thought she was so interesting, and now we get to see the conclusion of that. Again, this is a book I should have read ages ago, and then I ended up putting it off for whatever reason. I mean, this cover is perfect for winter in my opinion. I also think where it's set is actually going to be really good, because I'm pretty sure where we left it in book 1, we're in the ice part of this world, so that works great for winter. The series is all about fairy folk, and it's done fairy folk from our fairy tales themselves and the darker side of fairy tales, not the Disney-fied version, which I really like. I like the fact that we've got trickster fairies and all these different parts to our folklore, which I really enjoy. I do enjoy Holly Black's interpretation of fairy. I think it's really interesting. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. This one is going to be from a different perspective, which I'm kind of bothered over. I much prefer Surin, but in this instead we're following Prince Oak, which in the first original trilogy, Prince Oak is Jude's brother, or half brother. So yeah, I enjoy it. I like this series. You should read the original Folk of the Air trilogy first, because obviously it's going to give away spoilers for the ending of that trilogy. But I really enjoy it. I actually really enjoy the Folk of the Air. I mean, I say trilogy, it is all part of the same series, but that original trilogy I really enjoyed. This would be a nice light fantasy to break up the 2 bigger ones that I've done. Now something that I've been so excited to read, but I've been deliberately waiting for winter to read. First Frost by Sarah Addison Allen. Oh, look how beautiful this is. This is a book that, again, hopefully I'm going to get onto my December TBR. If not, definitely reading it in January. This is so cute. This is taking place after the first book, Garden Spells. I loved Garden Spells so much that it's going to be on one of my top books of the year for 2024. I thought it was a fantastic book. In that book we are following the Waverley sisters, and they are estranged and then something brings them back together. They are slightly magical. We're in this smaller little community. It's beautiful, it's wonderful, it's magical realism. It's slice of life, but there was just something about it that I just fell in love with. It was adorable, and this is the continuation, and it is taking place all around New Year's. Yeah, it's literally taking place around this year's first frost, so in winter. It's going to be perfect. I really cannot wait to read this book. I think it's going to be absolutely wonderful, and look how gorgeous this is. So yeah, this is one that I want to be reading December or January, and again, something lighter to break up some of the other fantasy books. I love this writing so much, and once I've read this one, I'm definitely, if I still adore it just as much as Garden Spells, then I will definitely be getting the rest of Sarah Addison Allen's work. Like, there's a lot of other books that I'm interested in. I think Sugar Queen is one of them, and there's just various different books that have been written that I just think will be magical and whimsical and absolutely a delight. So yeah, we've got The Peach Keeper, Sugar Queen, Lost Lake, like there's lots and lots, so I definitely want to give them a read. But yes, this is going to be my winter one, which I definitely think I'll be able to get to. Continuing with the cozy whimsical feels, we have The Tale of Hilltop Farm by Susan Wittig Albert. This is a cozy murder mystery where we have Beatrix Potter as our main character. Beatrix Potter is the person that wrote Peter Rabbit, and I'm so excited to read this one. This one was recommended to me by Julie. I've actually had a few of you since I did the book haul video comments saying that you think I'm going to love this book. I think it's going to be perfect to read in winter. It'll be a really nice one just to cozy up with, blanket, hot drink, you know, just enjoy it. I'm really excited to read this one. I think it's going to be absolutely adorable. But yes, we are following Beatrix Potter, who has just bought a farm, and the locals don't know what to make of her. Like, they're not used to a unwed woman buying and running a farm. But then we have a series of like murders? Oh no, when a villager dies unexpectedly and allegations of foul play. So I don't know if it's a series of murders or just the one murder, but I'm really intrigued, and apparently there are lots of books in this series, which I cannot wait, because if I love it, I would definitely be getting them. And I really like this tiny little mass market paperback. Like, it's so cute and tiny, and I really can't wait. So I think that is going to be a fantastic book to read. Then a book I'm kind of cheating by putting on here, but when I originally received this one was a gift from Denise, so thank you so much. I did say that I think this would be perfect to read in winter, and then Leandra messaged me when she saw this, and she was like, hey, that's a book I really want to read. Fancy doing a buddy read? So we should hopefully be buddy reading this one in January, which is going to be amazing. This is a short murder mystery. It is translated, it's Japanese, it's by Shishi Yukamoto, and this one is translated by Louise Hill Kwai, and I'm really excited to read this one. This one is all about a wedding that's happening, but on the night of the wedding, the household is awoken by a terrible scream followed by the sound of eerie music, and we have our amateur detective who has got to solve it. I think this is going to be really fun. I'm really looking forward to a buddy read with Leandra. It'll be our first buddy read, and yeah, I just think this is going to be a really good book to read in January. Very much looking forward to that. Ooh, just flicking through, look, we've got little drawings of everything. Oh, this is going to be a really fun read. I'm really looking forward to this, and if I like it, there are a bunch of other ones that I can read as well, so very excited for that one. So kind of cheating because I'm 100% reading it in January, but you know what? This whole year with my seasonal TBRs, I've been doing, well, not great. So I'm trying to put on books that I know I'm definitely going to be reading so that I can feel a little bit more accomplished. I mean, so far, we've had one book that probably the least likely to get to, one book that I've just kept putting off for ages, and then hopefully these others are ones I'm definitely going to be reading. I just want to at least get 6 read. 60% sounds like it would be really nice. So yeah, you have to do what you have to do, you know? Okay, then a book I'm 100% going to be reading in December, hoping it gets onto the December TBR. We have The Christmas Murder Game by Alexander Benedict. Now, this is a book I picked up thrifted with the intention to read this for the Christmas murder mystery weekly reading vlog that I'm doing, which is a thing I started last year that I'm definitely going to be carrying on every single year, where I read a Christmas murder mystery. And seeing as I got this one thrifted, I figured why not. Now, I have heard some mixed reviews on this one. We're just gonna read it and hope I enjoy it. We've got 12 clues, 12 keys, 12 days of Christmas, but who will survive until the 12th night? That sounds pretty fun. I'm really intrigued to see whether I get on with it, and you know, what better time to read this than in December. So fingers crossed it gets on my December TBR. Regardless, I'm going to be reading it. Again, this is another one that I put on there knowing I will be reading it across the winter season. But again, it's just to give me a head start. You know, I feel like 2 out of the 10 that I know 100% I'm reading regardless. That's not cheating too much, is it? I don't think so. Of course, we have the short story collection. Every single season I have a short story collection that I am trying to read across those 3 months. And for winter, it could be nothing else other than Agatha Christie's Midwinter Murder. This is the last of the seasonal short story collections for me to read. And I mean, it is just winter personified. Look at how gorgeous this is with the end papers. It's stunning. Once again, this is a collection of short stories by Agatha Christie. Some of them have our detectives that we know and love, such as Miss Marple, Tommy and Tuppence, Hercule Poirot. A couple of them, like in the Autumn Mysteries, the Autumn Chills one that I've been reading, they've been just random stories. They haven't been murder mysteries, they've just been short stories that fitted the season. So I feel like this is going to be a really nice little collection. I think there are 10 in here, and I will just be spacing it out across the 3 months. That is the plan for this one. It won't go on any set TBR, apart from the fact that I mentioned this during my Relax and Readathon to read in December just one of the short stories for that Relax and Readathon day. But other than that, it's not going to go on like a set TBR because of the fact that I do plan on reading this over 3 months. I think it's going to be really fun. I really enjoyed these seasonal mystery short story collections. I've really enjoyed it. I've now got to decide what my short story theme is going to be for next year. I'm thinking I've got lots of like fairy tale collections, so I might end up doing that for the season. We'll see, but I think it's just a really nice way for me to actually get through some of those short story collections that I have on my TBR that are a little bit neglected, that I don't always think about, and it is quite nice just to pick up and have a little short story every so often. I do enjoy it. Definitely had to have that one on there. And then I've got one more mystery and then the classic. So the last mystery is Cabaret Macabre, and this is by Tom Mead. Tom Mead actually sent this one to me, so thank you so much. I really want to read this one. I feel, again, winter should be good for this. I enjoy a good, ooh, again with the map. Yeah, I enjoy a good murder mystery. This one is a locked room murder mystery, and we're following a amateur detective that is also an illusionist, I believe. This one, I think it's a 3rd book in a series, but I think you can read them out of order. I haven't heard otherwise, but I'm really excited to read this one and just see how it all goes. This one, we are in Hampshire, 1938. Victor is confined to a private sanatorium after attacking prominent Judge Sir Giles. When Sir Giles starts receiving threatening letters, his wife suspects Victor. Meanwhile, Victor's sister Caroline is convinced her brother is about to be murdered by none other than his old nemesis, Sir Giles. All taking place in an English country house before the Second World War. It is a gripping locked room murder mystery, which I think is going to be lovely. And the reason why I'm saving this for winter is because it is a snowbound English country house. I'm going to read this in winter in England. That sounds perfect. So very much looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be brilliant. And then lastly is the classic. Now, I haven't done as well with my classic TBR this year as I had hoped. I did read a few in October, which is always the best time for me to read classics. Don't know why, it just works out that way. I'm thinking I will do one classic per season. We'll see how it goes. If I don't end up doing it for winter, I may change it going forward in spring and that. I'm not sure. I do really enjoy classic. I just always put them off. Okay, this one is The Last Man by Mary Shelley. This is one of the rediscovered classics. So Mary Shelley is obviously well known for Frankenstein, which I read the 1818 text in October. Loved it. It's fantastic. This is the last book that I own that Mary Shelley has written. So I need to have a look, see if there's any more short story collections out there that I haven't read. I have read a short story collection by her. I have also read a little just short novella. I've also read the love story that she wrote, which is L'Adore. And of course, I've read Frankenstein's both editions. So I think this is going to be the last book that she wrote that I haven't read, but I will do my research just in case I'm wrong. I'm very excited for this one. So this is one of the first dystopian novels ever written. Now, what I am planning to do, for those of you that don't know, in March we have the new Hunger Games book coming out. It is going to be a prequel. Everyone's really excited about it. My plan is in March to actually reread the Hunger Games in preparation for that book coming out. I plan on doing a video about it all. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I haven't read the Hunger Games since they came out, so it's been a while, but I figured before that I should really read the book that was one of the first dystopian novels ever. because we did have a phase. So when I was younger, we did have a phase where a lot of dystopian books were coming out. We had The Hunger Games, we had Divergent, we had this other one that was about a maze that I've forgotten the name of. Like, there were loads coming out, and it all felt like they were all coming out all the same thing all around the same time, which is normal. We have trends within publishing. So it would be really interesting to see what inspired those sort of books. What is one of the first dystopian novels? What did that look like? Also, this one is set in 2073. It was ages ago from when this was first written, but for us, it's not that far to go. So I'm really intrigued to see what Mary Shelley envisioned for us at that time, what it's going to be looking like. I'm really intrigued. So I would definitely like to read this one at some point across the winter period. I honestly think it's probably going to be more likely January, February time that I get to this one, because December, I've already got ideas. We've already got set books I need to read for that one. Obviously, I still haven't done that December TBR. So we'll see what happens, because normally it's a bit chaotic, but it's going to be a lot of Christmassy, festive themed books on that TBR, so I don't think The Lost Man is going to fit in with that, but I feel like January would be a really good time to read this one. We'll see. As you can see, I'm being like, look, we're going to read all these things in January and February and all of this stuff. The reality is I'm probably not going to get to it, but we're going to give it a try. I would really like to read this one. This is the next classic book that I've got my eye on that I would like to read, and I feel like it would be the perfect time to be reading that before I reread The Hunger Games. So that's the plan. Whether it stays to plan, we'll have to see. But those are my 10 books on my winter TBR. You'll have to let me know, have you read any of these? Do you have any winter TBR plans? You'll have to let me know. But thank you so much for watching. I will laugh if I actually manage to get a couple of these onto my December TBR and you're all in the know way before I am about whether I actually get them on there. But yes, there we are. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to stop waffling on at you. Thank you so much for watching. Genuinely, I appreciate all of you that take the time to watch these videos, whether you comment or not. I really appreciate it, so thank you. For this winter TBR, we have to do any winter emoji in the comments below. Fill it up. Let's spread all that winter joy. Again, do let me know if you've read any of these and what you're planning to read across winter, and thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, then please do consider giving it that thumbs up, subscribing and commenting. Those 3 things really help this channel out. My social media links and anyone that I've mentioned will be linked below for you, and I will of course catch you in the very next video.